In a perfect storybook, the world is brave and good. A hero takes your hand, a sweet love will follow. But life's a different game, and the sorrow and the pain, only you can change your world tomorrow. Let your smile light up the sky. Keep your spirit soaring high. Trust in your heart and your soul shines forever and ever. Hold fast to kindness, your light shines forever and ever. I believe in you and in me. We are strong. When once upon a time, and stories in their rhyme, a moment you can shine and wear your own crown. Be the one that rescues you. Through the clouds, you'll see the blue. Trust in your heart and your soul shines forever and ever. Hold fast to kindness, your light shines forever and ever. I believe in you and in me. We are strong. A bird all alone on the wing can still be strong and sing, sing. Trust in your heart and your soul shines forever and ever. Hold fast to kindness, your light shines forever and ever. I believe in you and in me. We are strong.
Thank you for that excellent performance, showcasing the talent and beauty found in our local region's culture and language. If you enjoyed that and would like to listen to more of the songs of After Thursday, you can follow their social media accounts. Their YouTube channel is After Thursday. You can find this song, Mayong Kamarayan, there. Their Twitter account is at After Thursday, Instagram at After Thursday Band, and their Facebook page is After Thursday. And they are also in SoundCloud as After Thursday. They also want to promote Bicol Vibes. This page on Facebook serves as a platform for original Bicol music. Thank you also to Beatrice for that breathtaking performance. That was a truly emotional, graceful, and heartfelt expression from every movement and projection. To see more of her vlogs and dance covers, you can subscribe to her via her YouTube channel at Beatrice V.
At this point, we would like to once again acknowledge our sponsors. This event is brought to you by first New Faces Cosmetic Surgery Center, who can be your next go-to for everything that you need in the field of cosmetic surgery. We have an official website at newfaces.com.ph and a Facebook page at New Faces Cosmetic Surgery Center. We would also like to thank Uptown Coffee, who has the creamiest and most delightful menu of all the coffee you like. Hot or cold, strong or mild, they have it in store. Take a slurp and you'll be relaxed from all the tasks you are bombarded with. Make sure to visit them as well at their Carolina branch in Kilometer 10, Zone 1, Carolina, Naga City, and their Francia branch in Peña Francia Avenue or their Facebook page at the Uptown Cafe. And lastly, we would like to thank Artis and Prints and Garments, a reliable partner for silk-screen and heat press printing services for all your t-shirt needs. You can find them on Facebook via Artis Prints and Garments, and you can also visit their location at Villa Corazon Subdivision, Del Rosario, Naga City. You may view all the necessary information of our sponsors, such as their social media pages, website, address, etc., in the Zoom chat. But before anything else, let us first watch an advertisement from one of our sponsors, New Faces Cosmetic Surgery.
To heaven in a little rowboat. Then they all went to heaven in a little rowboat. Clap, 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 snap. Clap, pat, clap, snap. Clap. Then they all went to heaven.
Uh, nagsasalita ka siya. Naka-mute ka, by the way. Or
All right. Thank you so much for that wonderful advertisement from New Faces Cosmetic Surgery. Again, if you need a go-to clinic for cosmetics, New Faces Cosmetic Surgery is here for you. We've now come to the final speaker for today's event. Last but definitely not least, the topic of our final speech is the perfect way to end this fruitful celebration.
in a world full of busy schedules, conflicts, disagreements, and crises, finding a new harmony feels like a far-fetched dream. However, do not fret. This year's World Speech Day encourages us to cultivate a new harmony that allows us to look for what's in it for us, rather than what's in it for one individual. Man is not an island, they say. Thus, it is only appropriate to end our program with a topic that reminds us of what's truly.
Our final speaker is a registered nurse who graduated from the Ateneo de Naga University in 2018. He served as the former Public Health Associate in the Department of Health, as well as a COVID nurse at the Bicol Medical Center. We invite everyone to please give a big round of applause virtually to Mr. Othello De Leon.
Hello, my name is Othello De Leon, and this is my entry for World Speech Day. How can a single person contribute to a community and society in such a large way that it could affect a lot of people? Is it through philanthropy, community service, helping people in need, or just by simply existing in your own space? The answer could be anything. It lies in who you are and what change you want to see in your community. A little something about myself. I graduated nursing school and passed the local board exam, and I eventually became a nurse. And in our curriculum, we had a program called Community Health Nursing. In this program, we learned about the community side of nursing. Most people, my past self included, thought that nurses only existed inside of hospitals and other clinical settings. But during my college days, I learned that in community health classes, I learned that nurses in the community help people as much as nurses help treat people inside the hospitals. To the people that who are unfamiliar with public health programs, again, my past self included, realized that serving the people in the community is just as important as treating people in the hospital, because the prevention of diseases starts within the simplest of levels. be it a household or a group of families within a compound, to a huge barangay within a municipality. A large part of community health nursing is health teaching. Health teaching is one of the core aspects of community health nursing because it is the main way one could interact with people. In the process of interacting with them, you impart knowledge and proper skills necessary to prevent sickness and other adverse effects. As a student nurse, I enjoyed my time in the community because it felt like teaching a lot of people about health meant that I'm giving them proper knowledge on how to do things the right way, and I absolutely loved seeing people learn and engage with me while I was doing just a simple health teaching about hygiene. And at that moment, I realized that my growth as a student nurse didn't solely rely on gathering knowledge for myself and for the purpose of passing exams and subjects. I am learning things about health and imparting knowledge to those who are partially educated, and that sparked a flame inside of me. Ever since then, I told myself that after I graduated, I would serve the people in the community first before I worked inside a hospital. Fast forward 3 years to the future, and I just passed my licensure exam. And the first job that I actually applied to was a position in the community called Family Health Associate. It was under the DOH program, but unfortunately, I didn't get the job that I applied for, and that made me sad in a way that I couldn't fulfill my promise to myself that I would start in the community first before I went to work at a hospital. But of course, life goes on and you'll just have to make do with what's available. So, many months later, I applied to a private hospital and worked there for a few months. And then I got a window of opportunity to work in a community, and I took that opportunity, for it was my original plan to work in the community in the first place. The year is 2020, and I started working on February. I finally got a job as a public health associate. Basically, I was tasked to gather and submit reports from the actual field nurses. Those are the nurses that actually went to far-flung communities, and it was not the kind of job that I hoped for, but I was still thankful that I got an opportunity to work in the community setting. Things were doing fine until suddenly news broke out that there was a contagious virus going around in other countries. I was worried that things would get very serious, and it did. During the very first days of the soon to be known as the COVID pandemic, we would go around different barangays in my assigned municipality, and the other nurses and I would go on to do health teachings and do health caravans. Working behind the scenes of a health caravan and seeing it become successful really feels rewarding because you know that you were a part of it and you helped contribute to the success of it. It was a really great experience as I felt I was doing something far bigger than myself, and that is serving the people, and I love doing every second of it. Once again, I was glad that I got to experience serving people again, this time by giving them the necessary knowledge to help protect themselves from the virus. Few months have passed during the pandemic. Things only got worse. Most people were getting infected, and things weren't doing great as there were natural calamities that occurred during the pandemic, such as strong typhoons that enveloped small barangays with floods and landslides. Once again, the call of duty came. My team and I went to different barangays that were affected, and help people in need. Truly turbulent times have passed, but my passion for serving people has not disappeared. The joy that I get from seeing people doing better because I was able to help them in some way I could is priceless. And I intend to keep doing good and keep on doing and feeling the same way no matter what area or setting that I'll be working on. Now that I am in the COVID ward, things are much more different in terms of giving care to patients compared to the community. Working with actual patients that were afflicted with the virus changed my point of view in terms of seeing the severity and the effects of the COVID-19 virus in our society. People were succumbing to the virus in a very alarming rate. I once even thought that there was never going to be an end to this nightmare because things only got more grim because of the surges and the variants. But after all those that have happened, I still keep on going and still gave the same care that I started giving from the very beginning. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Otelo de Leon, for your wonderful speech. Communal integration is really important, even if you are not a medical or health professional. You have a deeper calling to serve the interests of the public, most particularly the most vulnerable. Surely, there are a lot of aspiring professionals who are watching here, but let Sir Othello's speech be a reminder that we should not use our education and profession inside the corners of our workplace. We also need to impart our knowledge outside and make sure that we are serving a common good. Indeed, our sense of connection to one another gives such a rewarding feeling in every opportunity when we come to know that we have personally made a difference in contributing to others, such as to our local communities, and any way that we can. Again, thank you so much, Sir Otelo de Leon. We would like to extend our deepest gratitude to our five esteemed guest speakers for today, Sir Eugene Bernardo, Sir Val Dominic Monit, Sir Jess Paul Paside, Sir John Ryan Lorna, and Sir Otelo de Leon. Thank you for making our World Speech Day celebration all. Thank you so much.
Before we proceed to the open forum, let us now call on our reactors. Miss Alisa Frances Salvino, a third-year BSBA Legal Management student, a member of the Remontadas Debate Society, and the president of the Legal Management Institute of Ateneo de Naga students. Miss Salvino, please share with us your insights about the speeches of our five incredible speakers.
Hello, before I proceed, I'd like to confirm if I'm audible and visible.
Hello, you're both audible and visible.
Okay, thank you, Vince. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a pleasant afternoon. It's a pleasure to celebrate World Speech Day with all of the wonderful people around here. I'm Elisa Salvino, third year BSBA Legal Management student, and a very proud member of the Remontadas Debate Society. So all my life, I have been so interested and so involved with public speaking. I think the beauty about speech is that it's not only unique to humans, but it is what makes humans unique. It is the best avenue that connects our minds, our hearts, and our bodies in translating intelligence and feelings into actual reality. I think the words that we say are single-handedly the most powerful instrument that is generally accessible to everyone. It's accessible regardless of your status, regardless of your race. The unrecognized power of words is the primary force that has the ability to shape and move individual beliefs, personal emotions, political stances, social behaviors, and other scopes of reality. I think one amazing thing about the speeches that we heard is that it's a manifestation of how powerful, of how powerful our words and expressions are. In fact, the mere fact na the freedom of speech is a constitutional right that is granted to all of us, this means a huge thing. So I think on a personal individual scale, the power that we have over other people ultimately lies in the words that we say. It is a bold expression. It is a bold bold confirmation of our views, of our opinions and judgments towards how we perceive our environment, towards how we perceive the people around us. In every circumstance, our words have the power to constructively support others through positive interactions, or even it can destructively shatter other people through negative remarks. This is true because a simple kumusta ka, a simple how are you can do so much more than you think. In times of isolation, the effects can be as simple as uplifting someone's day, or it can be as big as saving someone's life. Hence on a social scale, there is a corresponding duty and responsibility with every word that we choose to speak. All of the speakers were right. All of the wonderful presenters were right. Attached with our expressions are moral choices and actions that reverberate to other individuals. I think this premise is ultimately important, especially with the social political landscape that we have right now. All of our words and expressions, regardless if we address it verbally or virtually, they have the power to change mindsets, to change lives. Depending on our approach, we can persuade and convert an apologist into a progressive. We can correct lies and fake news into truths. We can move away from echo chambers and move into open forums. And lastly, we can turn conflicts with new harmonies. All of these have significant impacts on how we shape our tomorrows. The harmony that we aspire begins with a single voice and a responsible choice. Thank you very much, and I hope you all had fun with World Speech Day 2022.
Thank you so much, Ate Alisa, for your very, very wonderful insight. Thank you for your comments that truly add up to the conversation. Indeed, public speaking is a unique characteristic that makes us different as humans. Words have the power to shape and move individuals, and if we use them for the good, then we can attain the kind of change that we truly want. Now, we have another reactor, Ms. Precious Apuya, a second-year BS accountancy student, a member of the Remontados Debate Society, and the current officer of the Ateneo de Naga Supreme Student Government. Hello, Ate Precious. Please share us your insights and comments regarding the 5 speeches you witnessed a while ago.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I audible po ba?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Warmest greetings to all in this Zoom meeting. I am Precious Niaway Apuya from the Remontada Civic Society, a second-year BS accountancy student. So, a new harmony. I guess this is not just about having different perspectives come together in one sitting or being able to unify different perspectives or unify different causes, but it is also recognition of how we have different aspects or different issues that we need to address, even if we are in a remote setting just like this. This is why I believe that this culmination of the World Speech Day is even more important now that we are in a remote setting. We see people from different institutions, from different locations coming together and being able to share insights about their personal experiences, or talking about very relevant issues such as politics, such as technology and the like. And I think that if we're going to talk about new harmony, I would like to emphasize also on the importance of education, which is actually one of the topics which were discussed by one of our esteemed speakers. And education has played a very important role, especially in molding the minds of our future leaders, the minds of our youth. But at the same time, it also shows another issue that lies within our society, which is when it comes to the differences in perspectives, especially coming across through different generations. That as we move on to a more progressive mindset, or to a change, or to a shift in mindset, or to a shift in to a paradigm shift, there tends to be conflicts among different people, among different perspectives, and among different groups. And this is where education lies, and this is where education and its importance could be seen at the very end of the day. We see that education now is not just about imposing particular ideas or just achieving specific goals when it comes to course outlines or objectives. Education now is about unfolding that, giving capacity to the very person themselves to discover what is true and what is right. And I guess that this is also why the World Speech Day is important, so to say. That in World Speech Day, we're not just sharing our perspectives, but rather this is a way or an avenue for us to learn and to also gather different insights and also to see the world, to see different issues in a new light. And with this, I would like to thank our esteemed speakers for their invaluable knowledge as they share with us their different insights and their different thoughts on the prevailing issues in our society. We think about when we talk about or when we talk about giving speeches, we do not just think or we do not just listen to their perspectives, but also how it applies in our society. How one thought about politics, how one thought about our personal experience could be true or could be the same or could be relevant to another person. So going back to how our World Speech Day theme is a new harmony. It's not just about sharing, but it's also about bridging our different circumstances and also bridging our collective thoughts that we may have never known to be the same or we may have never thought to have think of if not for other people who share their insights and to allow us to see their perspectives, pushing us to share ours as well. So that would be all. Thank you.
Wala pa.
Thank you, Ms. Apuya, for those insights. We are freshly reminded and we once again learn about the importance of education to effectively view and discuss differences in perspectives and in bridging out one another's differences for these types of conversations to happen. Your views, your insights truly broaden the takeaways everyone can have from this program. Thank you.
We would like to extend our appreciation to our panel reactors, Ms. Alisa Trujillo and Ms. Precious Apuya, for their wonderful insights. At this juncture, we will now be opening the floor for any questions, clarifications, or further insight from our audience. If you have any questions, you may raise them. You may raise your virtual hand and open your microphone, or you may raise them via the Zoom chat. We would also like to acknowledge the presence of our speakers, Mr. Judine Bernardo, Mr. John Ryan Lorca, and Mr. Othello Trujillo. If you have questions regarding their topics, you may address them specifically and just say that you want to raise a question with regards to the technology topic, for example, politics, etc., etc. We encourage everyone to participate and raise their questions because our speakers truly have very wonderful insights in regards to these topics. Thank you so much. We have someone raising their hand. Ate Paula, you're raising your hand. Do you have any questions, po?
Okay. Hi, hello po everyone. This question po is addressed to Sir Ryan. Hello, Sir Ryan. Thank you for sharing with us your knowledge and expertise in the field of technology. I just wanted to ask po, what can you envision for the tech industry in the years to come?
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, po, sir, you're audible po.
Yeah. Wait. Let me show my face. Okay. With regards to the question of, Ms. Paula, I can envision technology in the years to come to be more more advanced in terms of manipulating data because uh, ever since the internet has become has boomed in the 90s, data has been the most powerful weapon, not only in the field of information technology, but everywhere. Like research needs data, um, journalism needs data. Everyone needs data actually, because the one who holds the data is considered to be the most powerful. When hackers, for example, find a way to breach um, systems like Comelec, for example. Not that I'm praying that they will, but someone who holds this voluminous parts of data is powerful. They can actually sell it underground, in the dark web. So envisioning the future of technology in the near future, or maybe 20 years from now, um, I'm looking at data being used into into more practicalities, like um, determining or predicting maybe the pandemic, or maybe using it to develop more kinds of solutions in terms of politics, in terms of the general world issues that we have now, war maybe. Um, Data can be used, actually data science, in this regard, can be used to you know gather seemingly disconnected or unrelated raw data, and then later on, come up with an insight after passing it into a data model or into a mathematical model. Everything, um, every data that seems to be unrelated can actually mean something later on. So, um, collecting data, collating them, and then processing them to provide a more meaningful information. That's actually the basic role of computers. Now, this complicated systems that we have now, we have neural networks for the artificial intelligence. We have, just like on my speech, the recommendation engine of Netflix, for example, is improving based on data, of course, provided by us. Now, the only the of course, if there's a boon, there's a bane. Um, as much as that data is so powerful that it can change lives, it can also destroy lives. So the very prime example would be the proliferation of fake news and disinformation. Data itself is not dangerous, like it's not a living thing, but people who are managing this data, people who are storing them and then using them into whatever they want, are the most dangerous individuals. And data, again, can destroy lives. Fake news, for example, mixed in with a bit of the truth, um, you can actually persuade a lot of people. You can actually convince them that, hey, this is the real truth, when in fact it's not. So this is a very big challenge in the technology industry, synergized with journalism, synergized with a lot of the areas of the aspects that we have right now. So, um, beautiful as it may, as we can imagine, but dangerous too at the same time. So it's beautifully dangerous and dangerously beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Ryan.
Welcome.
Ryan, for the question. I thank you, Ate Paula. I thank you, Sir Ryan, for your answer. And thank you, Ate Paula, for your question. Again, if you want to raise a question, you may do so by raising your virtual hand in the Zoom, and unmuting your mic. Also, if you're kind of shy, you can also just raise your questions through the chat box. For those who are viewing our Facebook live stream, you may also raise your questions through the comment section. We will be gladly accepting your inquiries. While we're waiting for others' questions, I also have a question for Sir Othello De Leon. Hi, sir. Uh, my question is, many people, particularly nurses like you, are fleeing the country in hopes of working abroad and getting more monetary benefits. In connection po with your topic and the importance of connecting with others and serving the interest of the public, what do you think po are the ways in which we can convince our professionals to stay in the country and see the beauty of community engagement?
Hello. Can I be heard? Am I heard?
You're audible and visible po.
Okay. Personally, I would think that it's not enough to convince nurses that we should stay in this country just because the pay is good and other things. I personally think in my experience that compensation is not enough. Appreciation is always appreciated by nurses because nurses in the Philippines are largely underappreciated, undercompensated. I personally know too many people that have quit our profession because they were burned out. They change to other careers, like they go into businesses, to other works other than nursing because they personally thought that nursing is not worth to be a nurse anymore in this Philippines in this country because um let's say that the labor that we do is not this is not compensated enough. I think I think that the government should do a better job of making the nurses stay in the country by giving us a better plan for health, a better healthcare system. Um, I don't want to mingle into politics, but contractualization is one of the reasons why many nurses my age and other higher ups don't stay too much in this country because they have been working for almost 5 to 10 years, but they are still contractual. Imagine that, working for that long and then you're still under the mercy of a 6 month contract with no stability in your life. Um, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why nurses leave the country. And yeah, other than that, I think we should contractualization is mainly one of the greatest factors that I can think of that the government could fix so that the nurses in our country wouldn't leave as much. That's all. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so much for Othello for your wonderful answer. Again, we'd like to encourage everyone to raise questions through voice or through the chat. Uh, through the chat. Also, for those who are watching on the live stream, you may also forward your questions to the comments. We'll be accepting them, of course. Yeah, we'll be waiting for a few more questions. Anyone? We have another question from Ate Paula. Hi, Ate Paula. What's your question?
Yeah. Hello, Sir Othello. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I would just like to follow up on Josh's question. I really am in awe of your speech, especially when you talked about how you're motivated by the joy of serving. So just out of curiosity po, I just wanted to ask, if not for the medical profession, what industry do you think would you be working for at present?
Hello. Before I before I decided to go into nursing, I a bit of background. My family has a political background. Like in Sepokot, my family was basta politics. Anyway, and because of that, maybe something seeped in with me that I I want to serve the community because it felt like being known to other people and then helping them felt like a really good thing. Like, you have a legacy that people know you, and people will remember you because you've done good deeds. So um if if I hadn't chosen nursing, I would have probably went into politics, like maybe legma or pol sci. Actually, that was one of my first choices. But then I I realized that maybe I was into science more rather than I still wanted to serve, but I was scientifically inclined, kaya I chose nursing na lang instead. That's all.
Thank you very much, po, sir.
Uh, yeah. Thank you so much. We'll still wait for a few more questions. We highly encourage everyone to please do raise questions. It will help us elevate the state of our discussion for today. Since we're celebrating World Speech Day, what better way to do it than to, encourage everyone to participate, speak up, and use their voice. Okay, so it seems that we have questions from the chat box. Okay, let's start with a question from Lillian. He says that this is a question with regards to the topic of technology. How or in what ways can a simple person use technology to combat and avoid the spread of fake news and misinformation that are going around in these times, especially on social media sites like Facebook and Twitter? Because these types of false information spread like wildfire during this time of the pandemic and especially now with the upcoming election. Uh, this is a question again with regard to the topic of technology.
Um, Sorry. Hello, am I audible again?
Yes, sir, you're audible and visible.
Thank you, Gian, for your question. How can how can a simple person use technology to combat the word spread fake news? Well, actually, I'd like to say that if if the spread of fake news is like a wildfire, then let's fight fire with fire. That's the only way that I can think of. I mean, but kidding aside, you know, um, fake news as much as much as facts and then the truth can actually be posted in social media, in Twitter, in a social media, or maybe in websites or in blogs, TikTok. Fake news can have that equal chance to be spread in that way too. Now, before I go to how a simple person can do that, can do something about it, let's remember that once you subscribe to a social media network such as Facebook or Twitter, you are you actually are obliged uh, to follow their terms and conditions, their um, how does Facebook term this one? Their community standards, as Facebook would sometimes warn us whenever we share something that is tagged as misleading or maybe fake or maybe gory. So um, it all boils down really to the kind of person that you are when you subscribe to this social network to the social media networks. These social media networks are tools, and again, tools aren't like living beings. I mean, despite having despite Facebook or Meta employing maybe artificial intelligence in terms of tagging stuff, there are still people behind the scenes, helping the technology itself, because the technology doesn't have conscience, doesn't have uh, like a certain moral ascendancy. Everything is artificial, so it can be similar but never the same as how us humans could discern a certain data or information or news. So given that context, given those conditions, given those realities, um, as a simple person, may or you may or may not be inclined into technology. A simple a simple comment on a certain post by someone, by a page or by someone, which is incorrect, which is fake, and not only posting or commenting by saying, hey, that's fake. Do more, level up by actually putting a reliable source, or maybe quoting from a journal, an a peer-reviewed journal, um, contradicting that fake news. This is Fake news is not just about politics. I've seen a lot. during the pandemic, I've seen a lot of fake news about health, about COVID, like a simple joke about, well, memes about people becoming zombies. It's initially funny, but later on, when people have this wildest um, have this wildest post that let's not do vaccine, let's not do that because we might die. I mean, of course, there is always fear on that one, but um, imagine watching a video claiming that after he got this vaccine, or claiming that he knows someone that after having this vaccine, this happened, and the person seems to be generalizing the effect of vaccines across everyone, which is incorrect because we are genetically unique. I mean, we are genetically unique individuals. We have different kinds of health backgrounds. I mean, you may come from a family known to have known to have a gene prone to heart attack, and after the vaccine, you might have that kind um, of side effect. But the point is, don't just say, "Hey, that's not correct." Accompany it with a quote or with a link to a reliable source of information that will contradict that statement, that will deny that fake news. Or sometimes, because we know that more often than not, people proliferating fake news don't really read. I mean, that's the reality. They just read the headlines and that's it. So maybe quote some parts of those peer-reviewed journal or researches, or maybe reliable news posted online, and then put them there. So it's not enough that, hey, to say that, hey, that's incorrect. You have to provide also a proof that it's really incorrect, that this is what is true. Um, I remember one of my relatives, of course, I will not name names, who posted something about uh, a spliced video, and then that relative of mine have this caption that, okay, let's just go to war. Are you saying that let's go to war? Okay, let's go to war. We're not even capable. And then I contradicted this by, actually, it took me like 30 minutes to compose a very, very long comment with sources from reliable sites, websites. I would say the source was reliable because the information, the declaration is from them. For example, organizations are recognized to be legit organizations, not just some organization built overnight. So I actually gave it so much thought, especially in composing that reply, instead of just saying, "Hey, you're that's not true, that's incorrect." So even a simple person, even someone who is not technologically inclined, can actually use Google. Google is easy to use. The challenge is, how do you determine if it's a reliable source of information? Okay, so maybe I know in senior high school there's a subject about uh, ICT. I forgot the exact term, but it's about literacy, technology literacy or something. And that subject is all about using properly the technologies that we have. And I think part of those is also about ethics, about um, identifying a reliable source of information. And hey guys, even in junior high school, we have research subjects. Okay, we have research subjects. You're even required to pass by the end of the term or by the end of the year level a research paper. Okay, and that in itself is one way of it's a training for us to actually search for reliable sources of information. Okay, and when you're in college, you have research papers here and there, whether if it's from a major subject or a minor subject. Research is actually part of the life of a student. So I do not understand really why some people, college graduate levels, and sometimes even graduate level. I mean, working professionals, they're still believing. Oh my lord, they're still believing about fake news, and they sometimes just ask questions, not for the sake of asking questions, but actually some people using fake news to some people. So, again, as a simple person, just don't contradict. Make sure that before you contradict, you've done your research well, so that if a rebut happens, you're ready. I myself, I'm not a good debater. Lagi akong talo sa debate with, argument with my brother. But, you know, it pays to read. It pays to do some research before answering. I hope I answered your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir John and Lorca, for a very insightful and helpful answer to Gian's question. Again, we're also opening the floor to any questions for any of our speakers. We have Sir Jadine Bernardo, we have Sir Othello De Leon, and we have Mr. John Ryan Lorca. We have someone in the chat from Lay. She's from CNSC and a third year BS.com student. She wants to appreciate the whole speakers for sharing their master's in Tibetan. Yeah. Thank you so much, Esther. Again, you may raise your questions to the chat here in Zoom, or you may raise your virtual hand and open your mic. You may also comment your questions if you're watching the Facebook Live. We have another question from Kuya Al. Hi, Kuya Al, you're raising your hand.
Hello, good afternoon. This question is addressed to Kuya Judine. Is Kuya Judine there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Kuya Judine. Okay. First of all, thank you for the wonderful speech. At the first part of the world speak. At the first part of this program, I think it was really emotion evoking, since we have similar experiences as well, not just as debaters but as college students. Siguro my question would be centered around the idea that if if I'm correct, your batch was the batch that uh went through the bar exam under the pandemic. I think if I'm not mistaken, medyo na reschedule siya for very many times, and I'm aware that it really caused a lot of circular emotions, kumbaga, for some from law students. But I think the question wouldn't about naman be the bar exam, but I think siguro the question would be parang it's similar with your experience. Parang some of us felt that their lives, or the trajectory of their lives, or the plans of their lives might have been derailed because of the pandemic. Siguro from those experiences, Kuya, what piece of advice you can give to those people who felt that way, and moving forward, as hopefully the pandemic is already coming to an end, like siguro what are the steps that we can do kumbaga to make out of this experience?
Okay, thank you for that question, Al. Well, actually, the first thing that you have to do if there are certain uncertainties in your life, you need to assess first what are the things that you can control and what are the things that you cannot control. Because that's where you'll get to understand what are the things that you can be a bit frustrated about and what are the things that you can just let go. What am I saying is, when there are certain things that you can control, that's on you. But if there are certain things that are beyond your control, you don't have to dwell too much on that, because that would just simply affect your mental health. And I think mental health is really one of the issues, lalo na this pandemic, because given the pandemic, there are a lot of uncertainties. For example, during our bar examinations, we didn't know when will be when will be the bar, but schedule for the bar is something that's beyond my control. That's why I didn't think much about it. But studying for the bar is within my control. That's why I was able to like surpass, and at least I was just
I just became grateful when I was taking the bar. So I think that's the first thing that you have to understand. Second is that this is in relation to those things that you cannot control. I think what's more important is you need to pray. I am not really religious as a person. I know that there are more religious individuals compared to me, but I recognize that although this is debatable, but I recognize that for certain things that I cannot control, I just let fate and I just let God do the rest and do the work. To me, practically speaking, it helps my mental health as well because because I know what that when I so long as I'm living not alone. I'm living with a person or with a God who can be with me with these challenges. And I think this is something that related to being a human being. Kasi we're more um confident if we have the feeling na we're not alone. If we have that feeling that we do a certain task or we do a certain challenge with someone else. And in those cases that we cannot that you think, there's no person there who can be with you, at least you have that notion that a God is with you, and it will make you more confident when it comes to surpassing different challenges. But again, religion is something that's debatable. We all know that as debaters, but that's my personal take on the matter. And lastly, be grateful to what you have right now. We all know that everyone's not perfect. The circumstances that we are into is that they are not perfect. But it doesn't mean just because things are not perfect, you are totally a crap. It doesn't work that way. You have to look into the positive things, like the positive side, the blessings that you still have. And from the blessings that you have to work on that. And I think that's when you can move forward, regardless of the uncertainties that we have right now in your lives. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that very insightful response, Kuya Judine, about managing challenges that are inside and outside our control. I personally have a follow-up question po. Uh, there are some people who are naturally anxious about what others think of them as a matter of habit, even if they may want to consider themselves as worthy in of themselves. What do you think are the baby steps people can take to unlearn bad habits of not treating oneself as worthy and to eventually make it a new habit to brush off judgmental eyes?
Well, I am also anxious. I think I I can relate to that question, and I like that question actually. But well, the first thing that you have to do if you're anxious is you have to recognize you're anxious. You have to recognize your realities. That probably you think too much. That's your nature. You have to accept that. It all starts with acceptance. After that, after the acceptance, that's where you assess. You assess your strengths. You assess why are you anxious. You assess why are you always thinking too much. Are you even objective when it comes to assessing these things? You have to assess that because that's the part of processing on how you can improve. Most often than not, well, since I'm the speaker for the personal topic, most often than not, we are anxious because we think too much of others. We think too much of what will they think of us, right? Because we live in, a judgmental world. We have a lot of people who are too judgmental, who set standards for us. But again, going back to what I said in my speech, you live because you live for your own. You live primarily because you want to prove something for yourself. But again, you don't have anything to prove to anyone. That's very plain. And I think that's where you can cure your anxiety if your anxiety is caused by judgments from others. Don't think too much about judgments of others because you have an internal struggle, an internal conflict within you. You have first to cure that and to solve that before you can solve or even think of others' mindset or perspective of you. That's it.
Thank you, Kuya Judine. I guess it's really important to recognize our own situation, like our to analyze our own mental health. Like it's something we should uh, treat as a priority as much as possible. And thank you for those answers. We would like to once again make a final call for any more questions from the participants for this open forum. Again, you can chat them if you're too shy, or you can raise your hand if you want to unmute.
We have one last person raising their hand. Angela, do you have a question?
Hi, I have a question for Sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So firstly, I can't open my camera. Sorry about that. For my question po, since because of the pandemic and also because of like the adjusting stage of college, since I'm a first year at the moment, what can you say po when like I have a personal struggle in doubting myself, doubting my skills, especially to the skills that is related to the course that I'm having right now. And because before I went to college, I am somewhat an achiever. I tend to be good in schools and I tend to have great grades. But because of the transition of college, I tend to start doubting myself, doubting my skills, and I tend to depend on the things that is much comfortable within me. So I think that it hinders my growth, and it parang it hinders me as well to open new doors of opportunities. And what can you say po if like what do you think po can I do for me to loosen up a little bit and to not put too much pressure to myself in doubting my skills or my choice of career, for example?
I think is that question addressed to Sir Judith, Angela?
Yes po. Sorry. Yes po.
Okay. Hi, Angela. Um, medyo hindi ka naging audible dun sa last part, but the way I understand it is you you have taken a course which is okay, what's your course, by the way? May I ask?
I'm BS accountancy.
Okay, and your problem, or rather your dilemma right now is there seems to be a shift or a difference of environment, right? From high school going to college. Well, the first thing, as what I told you a while ago, you have to recognize that you are in a different situation already. You are from college. Obviously, high school life is different from college life. That's the first thing that you have to recognize. Therefore, the achievements that you had when you were in high school, up to some extent, you have to not necessarily forgo, but you have to detach yourself from that and recognize that there are bigger achievements that you can have when you go to college. Why do you have to detach from that? Because these are just simple achievements, but this is not you. You as a person, you are constantly developing and you are constantly growing. So do not be stagnant, and do not be stagnant on your achievements you had in high school. Well, yes, we congratulate you for that. Tap yourself for saying that, yeah, I did a good job when you were in high school. But again, when you go to college, it's a different arena. And you might think of it as, oh, this is a bigger challenge. But on a brighter perspective, you can say that this is a better avenue for you to prove yourself as a person, because there are other bigger achievements in college that you can get. Do not compare your achievements anymore na you get from your high school, because you're starting again in college. And do not be frustrated when you're starting, because when you're starting, there's not much expectation, right? You have nothing to lose but everything to gain in the whole experience. And I think that's where you can get to be more exciting. I rather be more excited in college. Although I recognize that your course is quite tough, Actually, I was a BSA student then for a SEM or at least two, but I already shifted to legal management because I still had to go to law school, which is also for 4 years. So I just want to be more efficient. Now, I recognize that your course is a bit challenging, but in every challenge, the first thing that you have to do is you have to look at these opportunities as um avenues for you to be better, avenues for you to gain more knowledge, gain more experiences. I think the reason why you are quite afraid or quite uncertain as to your decisions in college because you think too much of what you had already in the past, the achievements that you already had in the past. And I tell you, these achievements, when you do not detach from them, they become your stressors. Nagiging stress mo sila because you think too high of yourself. But if you just think of, but if you just loosen up, right? If you just think of, oh, I just want to study accountancy, I just want to study cost accounting, the basics of accounting and all of those mistakes that you will encounter along the way are just to you, you think of them as opportunities. Your life will be easier and your life will be more uh tolerable, right? More bearable. Because you have to recognize that in so long as we're living, we have different challenges, personal challenges that we will encounter. Kasi the moment that these challenges stop, that means your life stops. Diba? And you don't want your life to stop, right? That's why embrace your challenges, embrace your problems, because these are opportunities for your growth. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sir Judine, for your answer. We'd also like to call on Sir John Ryan Lorca. He'd like to contribute his thoughts on that question as well. Hi, sir.
Hi again. Hi, Angela. Uh, I just I was listening to your question, and then I realized that yeah, I need to contribute some thoughts about that one. I'd like to start. I'd like to start before I go into that, delve into that, into my sort of advice, maybe. I'd like to start. I'd like to bring us back to the very first day that I stepped in front of the gate of Ateneo de Naga. So it was in 2004, so you know how old I am now. But um, taking my kinder from kindergarten to fourth year high school. Wala pang senior high school noon. Taking my kindergarten to high school, to fourth year high school, in a school in my hometown, in dun sa bayan, sa Central. And then from those, how many years? 4 plus 6 plus 1, 11 years. For my 11 years of staying in the same school, you know, every day except summer vacation. And then now here I am standing in front of the gate of Ateneo for the first day of Orsen. And it was a culture shock for me. I'm not from the city, and I seldom go to Naga City, um, um, because we're like 1 hour far from the city. And that first day that I stood in front of the gate, I was really nervous. Okay, I have to memorize the buildings because I'm bad at direction. So, and Savior Hall is just very near the gate, the main gate. Um, Looking at myself back then, I said to myself that hey, there's no turning back because this is you going into college, and it's very very different back in I mean back in high school. And then my course is information technology. That was when when you're applying into Ateneo, you have those three choices, of course. So my first choice was IT, second was education, and third was entrepreneurship. And good thing my the entrance results happens to you know um, qualify me into that course because I think mathematics is one of the prime consideration for IT. So I don't have any background in programming because unlike senior high school, there's like an ICT TVL now in senior high school. I really have no background in programming. I mean, at school we have computer subjects, but it's all about um, office productivity tools, and that's it. All I'm saying is that I entered into the course because I'm interested with computers, and that's it. That's the only thing that I was holding on during that time. Okay, so your course is accountancy. I I I I would say that's a very difficult course. Not to discourage you, but I'm just saying it's the reality. We don't like fake news here. So surviving the 4 years of information technology as a course really was a roller coaster ride. And if you if you were saying that you're now very unsure of your skills, you're doubting yourself, the skills that you have in order to survive accountancy. I experienced that too. I mean, first year on the first semester, I mean on the first year level, programming is really part. I mean, hey, we're IT, so basic programming is a must. And sometimes I get frustrated and I sometimes throw my book. I do tantrums because I don't get it. I can't logically fix the code. But you know what I did? At the end of the day, after I go home, because I never did rent a boarding house in Naga City. I can't sleep if it's not my bed. At the end of the day, whenever I go home, I review the lesson and I practice it on my very, very slow computer. We don't have internet back then. I mean, it's dial-up and internet in internet cafe is very, very expensive. So I don't like going to the computer shop for it. I use the library. I use the internet center of Ateneo because we pay for it. What I'm saying is that constant practice really makes perfect, even though no one is perfect. And that doubt will never leave you. I mean, even up until now, doubt can still sometimes visit you at night. You know, those moments before you close your eyes, or even when you've already closed your eyes on the verge of sleeping, and here comes your brain bombarding you with thoughts. Maybe because I'm an overthinker, but yeah, bombarding you with thoughts, and just just right in time before you sleep. Sometimes it bombards you with thoughts. It never leaves you. I mean, doubt will sometimes still visit. I mean, doubt still sometimes visit me, even at this age, even if I'm now working as an IT professional. So accept that you are not enough, but at the same time, be flexible. Be flexible. Flexibility means you adjust. I mean, if you fail to understand this lesson for today, then ask for help. Someone that you know who knows it, who knows about it. When the professor asks you, hey guys, do you have a question? Kung sa high school, silence means yes. In college, no, that's not acceptable. You have to ask, okay? You have to ask, okay? I know curiosity kills the cat, but hey, your course in the course that you chose for college is sometimes your lifeline in this life. You are you are on the part of the state but there's no other way for us to to move. I mean, if you're not gonna move, you're gonna stay in that square tile. Okay? Backing out, I don't think that's really a good idea. But moving forward is the only way. Now, since you're on in your first year, sometimes I've encountered many of my former students who took the course because their parents wanted it for them, or who took the course because of peer pressure, because they want to stay together as friends. But this time, because of the pandemic, no matter if it's your parents' choice or if it's because of peer pressure, every one of us was isolated, confined in this virtual box that we have right now, and we're actually just talking in front of the computers, in front of the camera. Ask yourself, why did you ever take why did you ever chose the course that you have right now? Okay? And this is about flexibility. If you think at this very stage, if you think you've already exhausted everything, you've already tried your very best, and at the end you feel that this course is not really for you, then shift. Okay? Then shift. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck up there with your doubts and everything. Okay? I know the question is just about your self doubt about your skills, but you have to reevaluate yourself every time. I'm not saying that every moment, every hour, every time. Do a regular reevaluation. Am I still? Is this still the course for me? Okay, because I mean, there's no. It's not wrong to shift into the course that you really that you think will be really the one for you. Okay, so I don't know the full circumstances that you have. I don't know your family background. I don't know your genetic composition. I don't know your psychological capacity right now. I have no idea. But I am suggesting that you reevaluate yourself every now and then. Okay. Now, if it's about doubting your skill, talk to someone that you know can understand you. You know can listen to all your rants. Every one of us needs an outlet of our rants, of our thoughts, and it's about our mental health. And that someone is just not anyone else. Find an expert. Find an expert in that field. If it's about if you have a tita or tita that's an accountant, then ask advice from them. If you have someone close, if you have someone close that is a senior in the course, then ask tips or guides or advice from them. Okay, so you are not alone in this kind of situation, and you guys are not alone in this fight. The pandemic actually triggered a lot of mental health choo choo and whatnot. So um, support from family is really important. If you can't get support from your family, then get support from someone else, like friends, the real friends. Okay, get support from the peers that you have. If you have a group of friends from your course, then find support from them. Um, don't make. I mean, all I'm saying is, um, don't don't center your don't allow yourself to revolve in just one world. Make many worlds so that if one world goes down, you still have other worlds. Okay. So um, when if you're still really doubting, okay, if you're still really doubting and it's now affecting your daily life, your daily routine, then you might as well find some professional consultation, psychological or I mean psychological consultation, because still mental health is still one of the priorities that we have right now. I hope that helps, Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir John Ryan Norta, and thank you, Sir Vicky Bernardo, for your very helpful and very insightful answers to Angela's concerns. All right. We appreciate everyone for their active participation and for sending in their questions. We hope our speakers have given satisfactory answers to your inquiries. While we are now going to close the open forum for this event, you may still forward your concerns to our speakers using the QR codes flashed on your screens earlier and shall be sent in the Zoom chat in a while. Okay, at this juncture, we shall now proceed to the awarding of certificates for our esteemed speakers.
At this point, let us recognize the efforts of our esteemed speakers by awarding them their respective certificates. Firstly, we would like to call the first speaker, Mr. Judine Bernardo, for the awarding of his Certificate of Appreciation and for picture taking.
Citation reads, this certificate of appreciation is proudly given to Mr. Judine Bernardo for imparting their valuable insights for the second installment of the World Speech Day 2022 Naga City on March 11, 2022 via Zoom crowd meetings. Signed, Justin Shaw, President of the Remontadas Debate Society. Signed, Paula Therese Vignola, Project Head of the World Speech Day 2022 Naga City. And signed, Jerwin Roy de la Cruz, VP for Trainings, Remontadas Debate Society. Thank you once again, Mr. Judine Bernardo, for your efforts and for your speech that we have heard today. Thank you so much. Picture taking, sir.
Sige po, sir. 1, 2, 3, smile. Ayan. Thank you very much po.
Next, we would like to call the second speaker, Mr. Val Dominic Monit, for the awarding of his Certificate of Appreciation and for picture taking.
It seems that Sir Val is not here, but the same certificate of appreciation is awarded to him, Mr. Val Dominic F. Monit, signed by Justin Shaw, President of the Remontadas Debate Society, signed Paula Therese Orniola, Project Head of the World Speech Day 2022 in Naga City, and signed by Jerwin Roy Villacruz, VP for Trainings, Remontadas Debate Society. We would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Mr. Val Dominic F. Monit.
Next, we would like to call the third speaker, Mr. John Ryan Llorca, for the awarding of his Certificate of Appreciation and for picture taking.
Again, same certificate of appreciation is hereby given to Mr. John Ryan Lorca. Signed, Justin Shaw, Paula Theresa Nyola, and Jervin Roy de la Cruz, the President, Project Head, and VP for Trainings of the Remontadas Debate Society, respectively. Picture taken.
Sige po, sir. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay po. Thank you.
Next, we would like to call the fourth speaker, Mr. Jess Pasibe, for the awarding of his Certificate of Appreciation.
Mr. Pasibe is also not in the Zoom call right now, but we extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation to his efforts in making the speech for this year's World Speech Day celebration. The same certificate of appreciation is also hereby given to Mr. Jess Paul Pasibe.
Lastly, we would like to call the last speaker, Mr. Naputol ba si? Wait.
We would like to award the certificate of appreciation to Mr. Roel Otelo de Leon, RN. Thank you so much, sir, for your active participation and for being here with us in our celebration of World Speech Day. Yeah, picture taking daw po, sir.
1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you.
That's it for the awarding of certificates for our speakers. Thank you so much once again for all of your efforts and for delivering such powerful speeches that I'm sure have impacted a lot of us here in the Zoom call and as well as those who are watching the Facebook Live. Yeah, at this juncture, we'd like to again thank everyone for your participation, for sticking with us all throughout. Okay.
In these trying times, amid the systemic imbalances and corruption of the world that prohibits individuals from practicing their fundamental right to speech, it is truly imperative that we continue to promote live public speaking and encourage our people to share ideas. This is the simple yet integral goal of World Speech Day. Indeed, speech has changed the world socially, politically, in the arts, business, and religion.
The five speeches we have heard this afternoon offer noble and diverse perspectives on the most alarming issues in the world today, propose fair and actionable solutions, and implore the audience to partake in the execution of such solutions and in the furtherance of the featured causes and advocacy.
To formally end our World Speech Day celebration, let us now call Miss Paula Therese Raniola, the project director of this year's World Speech Day.
Okay. Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Remontados Debate Society of Ateneo de Naga University, I would like to thank all of you for spending your time with us as we celebrate the World Speech Day 2022. We would also like to extend our deepest gratitude to the following institutions and organizations for accepting and echoing our invitation across their networks. We'd like to thank Camarines Norte State College, Mariners Collegian of Mariners Polytechnic Colleges Foundation of Legazpi City Albay, Corps of Midshipmen of Mariners Polytechnic Colleges Foundation Legazpi City, Skippers of Mariners Polytechnic Colleges Foundation Legazpi City, Partido State University, Ateneo Society of Entrepreneurs, Ignition Management Honors of Ateneo de Naga University, and of course, Junior Philippine Institute of Accountants, Ateneo de Naga University Chapter. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, View Faces Cosmetic Surgery Center, Ortiz Prints and Garments, and Uptown Coffee for supporting us in this endeavor. And of course, to our performers, Nice One Enrico, After Thursday, and Beatrice Budenwaba, thank you so much for making the World Speech Day Naga Celebration 2022 possible. The unprecedented damages brought by the outbreak of COVID-19 have truly altered our circumstances, which call for the necessity of a new harmony. A new harmony that recognizes how our community can adapt to these drastic changes and devise initiatives that will pose solutions to the problems that confront the whole world. Today, we have witnessed how our fundamental values intersect in our common pursuit of attaining balance, of celebrating diversity, and of championing inclusivity. As we draw close to the end of this program, we hope that you were able to draw inspiration from the speeches of our guest speakers to share their personal experiences and their insights with us. May you all find joy and acceptance in celebrating our own journey in the same way that Kuya Judin was able to recognize that his strengths and his path differ from others. I'm sure that many of our participants were able to resonate with their speech, especially now that we're living in an age where milestones in one's life are visible through social media. May Sir Val's speech entice our professors and students who wish to become teachers in the future to embrace their role of becoming formators. For it is through listening to, believing in, and empowering the youth can we attain a new harmony that looks like a hope-filled future. May Sir Ryan's insights remind us of how we can maximize the use of technology as we go about our daily tasks. In today's world of fast-paced modernization, artificial intelligence has really inched its way as an indispensable vessel in man's reality. We hope that these technological advancements will translate into greater alliance and interdependence that will largely benefit society in the long run. May Sir Just Talk inspire us to strive for a new harmony in the world of politics by defending our core values and engaging one another in discourse. I really think that this is very relevant now that the national elections is just around the corner. May Sir Othello's experiences teach us that there is fulfillment in service. May it inspire us to have courage, commitment, and passion in helping one another and in looking out for other people. We'd also like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to our health workers who have been at the front lines in our efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. I really loved, sir, what you said about appreciation being equally important as compensation. Once again, this is Paula Therese Vanuela, your project director for World Speech Day Naga Celebration 2022. Just mabalas po sa inyong gabas.
Thank you so much, Ate Paula, for your wonderful closing remarks and for successfully spearheading this event. We would also like to give a huge shout out to all the members of the Remontados Civil Society who were part of the organizing committee of this year's World Speech Day. The success of this event would not be possible without your hard work and dedication. Moreover, we would also like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the strong alumni support of the Remontados Civil Society for guiding us along the way.
For our participants, please do not leave the call yet. At this juncture, we would like to request everyone to please open your camera and use the official Zoom background for our picture taking. After which, please do not forget to answer the evaluation form, which will be posted in Facebook in order to receive your certificate.
Update pala sa Zoom chat, the evaluation form has already been fixed, so you may answer them right after this moment. Thank you so much, everyone.
I'd like to request everyone to please turn on their cameras for the picture taking. Thank you. There are 2 pages in the screen, so please just hold on and please just smile. Thank you so much. Okay. For the first page, okay, sige, ayos muna tayo. 1, 2, 3, smile. Isa pa po, isa pa po. 1, 2, 3, smile. For the next page, please smile lang po in case you're in the second page on my screen. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, another take po, another take. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay po, that ends our photo taking session. Once again, thank you very much po. And please to accomplish the feedback form to receive your digital certificates. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.